Well, based off of something that Alex Rochon has said, I have lost all faith in my theorizing skills. I may not know how the Amazing Digital Circus is going to end. I do have some theories as to what will go down in the episode, what discussions might happen, how they may happen, etc., etc. For starters, I think the most obvious thing that is going to happen in episode 9, and if this literally doesn't happen, my head will probably explode, finally getting some Ribbit and Jaxalore. I also would really like to get a little bit of Pomni lore as well, but I don't know what's going on with Pomni, so I'm just gonna ignore her for now. Sorry, Pomni. I do also think that it is entirely possible to get a Kinger and Jax talk in this episode. I would love to actually be able to redo that at some point. I don't quite know what I'm doing right now, but this video I think is actually going to serve as me just trying to sort out things that are likely, things that are less likely, what could happen, what couldn't happen, just like getting my ducks in a row, because the episode is an hour long. What are they cramming in there? Alex Rochon basically said, all your theories are wrong, goodbye. And that kind of leaves me in a weird spot, because if all of... He basically worded it in a way where it's like, you're not going to be able to figure it out. Challenge accepted. At the very least, I want to have fun. This is probably the last time I'll get to do that with... Oh. This is probably the last time I'll really get a chance to do that with the Amazing Digital Circus, so I don't really care if I'm wrong, it's just me having fun. So far, for now, the theories that seem very likely or have been confirmed is one being Soma theory, where they're basically digital copies, their real bodies are still going out and doing things and living life, etc., etc. Kinger was a programmer. Kinger did do coding for CNA, a company that I'm realizing we don't really know what we know, like, nothing about. I realized recently that we don't know if CNA is actually still running or not. Like, we have no idea what the state of CNA is. I just assumed it was an abandoned building. But then that logic didn't make sense to me, because I was like, wait a second, why would there be all of this tech, and why would there still be servers? Why would the Kane AI still be, like, a thing? What exactly happened? Like, why would all of this stuff still be running? How does the computers have power? How do they still have servers to connect to? You know, just different stuff that I just realized wouldn't make sense if it was an abandoned building. But then, like, how did people like Pomni find this place? Because she was an urban explorer. She explored stuff like abandoned buildings, which kind of led me to believe, like, oh, okay, this CNA is an abandoned building. I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. I'm not gonna think about it. I'm wondering if when Kinger and Queenie and all of the first members of the Amazing Digital Circus sort of accidentally, you know, I don't know though, because my other thought was that, like, they all just get sucked into the Amazing Digital Circus, which doesn't quite make sense, but at the same time it could make sense. I don't know. Because, like, what do you mean that there's just, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Long story short, I do think some form of Soma theory is real. I really do not. I don't. Unless it's some sort of, like, if they get sucked into the digital world and then can somehow revert those effects. I really sincerely doubt that the human characters are escaping the digital circus. That's just, I don't think that's happening. The only other thing that I could see being possible of us getting the outside world would either be, one, where the digital circus members end up somehow connecting to someone on the outside or on the other side of the screen that is a real person, or a real person comes into the CNA building and, like, actually kind of messes with some stuff. Maybe that person is, like, Kinger or something, or just a random dude. I have wondered if the Amazing Digital Circus episode 9 would end with just a new member in the circus. Worse still, if someone abstracts and then there's a new member of the circus. That would be insane. I don't know quite how abstraction even works right now, though. I think abstraction is a sort of corruption in the code, so I wouldn't be surprised if abstraction is still a thing, but I don't... With Kane being gone, I don't know what's happening. Now, while Kinger was messing with the computer console thing, I did see that there was a file that said something about the internet. So, the Amazing Digital Circus cast is connected to the internet, maybe? But the second thing that I see happening is just, like, that's how the episode ends. Like, we get a glimpse of the characters in real life, kind of doing their own thing, living their own life. That is not the characters that have escaped, it's just the human characters that have been living their life this entire time. I don't really know if that would make any sense. And if we did, okay, I do want to clarify, if we did see human characters, we are not getting face reveals, okay? The most we're gonna get is like their faces are constantly being obscured. If it's like a live action shot, it's gonna be like those old cartoons where they have like the human characters' faces always cut off and you never see those characters. We're not getting face reveals for the characters. I would be shocked if we even get a live action segment. Now, I guess I should address the elephant in the room. The circus is in shambles. It's not fully gone, though, for some reason, even though Kane is freaking dead. I do speculate that the circus members will have to create Seth, which is basically a replacement for Abel. That sounds bad, but in the Bible, Seth comes after Abel's death, and Cain's, what's the word? The exile. After Cain's exile. So I wonder if the circus members will have to create another AI program in order to run the circus or the digital landscape, whatever. And then they can just live their lives and have fun and be dandy. I don't know. That could be a possible thing that I could see happening, and I could even still see they have to contact the outside world for this, like, hey, we need help. I do really think it'd be funny if they pull a sort of like Wreck-It Ralph breaks the internet type of thing where they all the all the digital circus members have to go to the internet. They wouldn't do that, would they? That'd be so funny if they did. I support that because it'd be funny if they did that. Oh my gosh. If they unironically did do that, I think it would be like they would send a message out in the internet of the World Wide Web. And they would be doing it in the sense of like it's an SOS, like, hey, help us, we're trapped here. I don't know how likely that is. That's just me kind of spitballing some ideas as to like stuff that's kind of off the wall that you wouldn't think would happen. Cause like there's stuff that's like, in my opinion, obviously confirmed. So like Soma theory. They're not, I'm sorry, they're not leaving the circus. And then there's other stuff that's obviously confirmed, like CNA is a real place, and Kinger was a programmer, and Kane is dead. I can still hear his voice. Another thing that I think could kind of happen is where it's like either a Truman Show situation or a sort of like leaning into like they're actually in a TV show theory or whatever. I don't know what that theory specifically is called. It might be called something like Showtime theory. I don't know. But it basically the theory was kind of like they're actually a part of a TV show, because in the beginning of in the pilot episode they have like ads and stuff, like they have the Wacky Watch ad, which is really weird to have in a video game, right? And then they have other things like they had intermission time. Why would you have an intermission if it's a video game? And then there was like another thing that was like that's like this wouldn't be a part of a video game. Now I understand that Kane made a video game. The AI landscape is not actually a video game landscape. It is just a digital canvas, if you will, that Kane decided to paint a lovely little circus on. So I don't know how true Showtime, I'm calling it Showtime theory, I guess. I don't know how true Showtime theory is. Or TV show theory is. I could call it TV show theory, I guess. But it is something that's a little more off the wall and isn't super hinted at. But I could also see it, if they did do something like that, I really do kind of hope it's more of a Truman Show type of thing, where it's like the reality kind of starts crumbling around everybody, and then they realize like, oh. And then the void is the exit. The void. It was always the void. The void is the way out, guys. I don't know, maybe. Jax jumps into the void trying to commit the dive, but then he ends up leaving the game. And it's like, wait, what the fudge? Top tier writing. Oh my gosh. I really don't like the idea that it's just, oh yeah, everything was a show. It just kind of feels like the trope where it's like, oh yeah, everything was a dream and you woke up from a dream. that feels very samey, and I don't... I mean this as nicely as possible. Most of the time, it is really, really, really lazy and loses all meaning for a story. You know what I mean? Like, all meaning for a story is just lost to the idea of, oh, it was just a dream. Oh, it was just a TV show. Like, no. I don't want that. I'm not saying stuff like that can't be written well. I'm just saying more often than not, it's a pretty lazily, like, it's a very lazy plot line. It's a very lazy storyline. So I really do not like the idea that The Amazing Digital Circus is all just a TV show. It doesn't add anything. Selma Theory is a bajillion times better than the, oh, it was all just a dream, whatever. The only other thing that I could see happening, but that's kind of a more predictable plotline, is that the members of the circus end up kind of using their imagination to their ability and like crafting the digital world into their own, even going so far as to change their player models, kind of modify the game and like do different stuff inside of the game. Only problem with this is one, the one console that they had was lost to the void, and two, we have no idea how much is going to change with Kane being gone now. To me, there is definitely another plotline going on outside of like the circus members kind of trying to solve all their traumas, and you know, us learning more about character lore and stuff, because a whole hour dedicated to that sounds like, no, there's more. There's more. There has to be. This could be where the obvious twist villain plotline with Bubble comes along, because we have no idea where Bubble is. There has to be some remnant of some AI, because how is the circus still even intact at this point if Kane was fully deleted and the circus was a part of Kane? I have so many questions! Some people also speculated that, like, where's the abstractions? Where's the cellar? Are they just running free now? To which I am kind of curious about myself, because one, where even is the cellar? And two, are the abstractions just loose now? Like, how much, you know, I've seen some people also speculate, do they have to eat now? Do they have to worry about breathing? Do they have to worry about their body? Like, how many modifiers did Kane put into the game that are now gone because Kane is no longer a part of the game? Like, how fricked are they? I do like the idea where if the abstractions were running loose, one of them looks kind of like eerily similar to Ribbit, or is found in Ribbit's room or something, or like, no, it's found in like Pomni's room or something, and like Jax wanders off to like go either to his room to collect his things or something, or like just goes to his room to sulk. He's like isolating like the loser he is, and then he like sees an abstraction, or like it's in Pomni's room or something, and that's giving him like a, oh no, and then it like runs off or whatever, or he's trying to avoid it or something, and then like other circus members are like, oh gosh, oh frick. And then they have to go, like, they meet another abstraction or the same one, and it's like, oh frick, Jack's abstracted, and then they have to deal with that like misunderstanding, and like, I don't know, I think it could be, I think the whole like if the abstractions are running around, there's so much you could play around with in that regard. Like, Jax happens to see one of the abstractions that looks eerily similar to Ribbit. Or is like fiddling around Jax's room, and then like Sharp turns at him and he's like, uh-oh. And has to like run away. Bubble being a twist villain, I don't know if I said this earlier, Bubble being a twist villain is kind of in the cards, and I think it is still possible. However, it's obvious, right? Like, this is like very clearly set up to me. And maybe, see, I don't know I don't know, because to me at this point, like, it's very heavily implied Bubble has like way more weight to the story, which would be pretty predictable to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is something that feels very predictable, so I'm kind of like, I mean, it's, to quote Pomni once more, well, it's possible. No, okay, you know what would be unexpected? Bubble is like a threat for like 3 minutes. Like, Bubbles like comes down and is like, now you have to deal with me. And then Jax just like ticked off, or Zubul or something takes one of their parts and just pops Bubble with it immediately and is like, yeah, no, we're not doing that again. I will say the concept of the TADC cast having to like deal with the bubble takeover is a really funny concept that I think should take up at least 3 minutes of the episode. Bubble could be a twist villain. There could just be another AI. We have no idea if Bubble is able or not. Or the blue AI. I shouldn't say able because we have no... There is already an able in this universe. I'm just going to have to refer to the blue AI as the blue AI. We have no idea who the blue AI is. I do think that the blue AI... It is hinted to be Bubble, but I do think that the blue AI is still alive or something. But, okay, if it's Bubble... When Kinger goes into, like, the game files and goes to click on Kane, there's another, like, application or whatever that is just question mark, I believe. If Bubble was the other AI, like, fully, wouldn't it be called Bubble? Now, okay, the only other thing that I think could have happened is that Bubble is, like, a piece of this AI. Which would kind of make sense because all around the circus there are a bunch of bubbles, and it would kind of, it could make sense to me that all of these bunches of bubbles, if they merge together, make, like, the blue AI. So maybe it's something like that. I don't know. That makes more sense in my head than Bubble's the blue AI. It makes more sense that Bubble would be a remnant, and then there's, like, other remnants in the circus, it being Bubbles. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool if they pull a there is no game situation where the players all have to interact with the outside computer's, like, UI. They're on the other side of the computer screen and they have to interact with the different, like, applications on the computer that they're on. That would be sick. That would be cool. That would be so much fun. Like, they all have to, like, just do it from inside of the computer. Like, they find their way to the computer screen and, like, see all the applications and stuff, and then they have to, like, work together to, like, we gotta get up on the top of the computer screen, and then they have to mess with different apps and stuff to, like, try and climb up to whatever application they need. Dude! That would actually be so cool. That'd be so funny. How that would happen, I don't know. Maybe to, like, since their world is literally falling apart, I think one of their could-be priorities is just trying to fix the freaking world because it's literally just decomposing. Like, Kane is dead. The circus is dead. We're all dead. We're alive, but we're still dead. I do think that would be a really fun thing to do. What if it's just all of the above? What if I've just... I don't know. I do think a more likely scenario is that they have to somehow bring back the circus, or they all just die. Gooseworks could do that, and they all just die. That would be the most unsatisfying freaking ending. I mean, the only other ending that I think could be less satisfying would be that this is just their home now, and they can do nothing about it. And they just live in a rundown version of the circus. That would be so... Could you imagine? That would be so... I'd probably just die on the spot. I don't think I'd be able to live without any sort of stimulation. It ends on the your new home theme. As we pan out of the computer again. Gosh. Or it ends with, like, them panning into the computer. And, like, talking about, like, someone narrating, like...
Yep.
Pomni being like,
yep. This is not the best home, but we've made it our new home.
And then it just cuts to... cuts to black. I do wonder, okay... Another thing that I think could happen, this actually leans into another thing that I thought could happen. At the end, there's, like, a brief moment where we have, like, a time skip of, like, all the aftermath of them being in the circus and stuff. I say circus, them being in their new home. I do think that's in the realm of possibility. I don't know if that's a predictable plotline or not. I think the possibility of bringing back Kane is a possibility. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think it's happening. If it does, I won't complain. You won't hear me complaining. But I think if Kane was to come back, it would be a, like, different version of Kane. It would be, like, a reimagined version of Kane. It would be like a new version of Kane. It would not be the Kane we all know and love. But anyways, I I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap up the video. Apologize if there's rambling, but this is a ramble video just to kind of make sense of some things in my head. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna stick with yet. I'll probably do... I think there's obvious stuff that's gonna happen, like Jax's best and worst moments. Can't wait for that. I would love to storyboard that, as Jax's probably number high up there fan. I'm number high up there. I don't know what number I am, but I'm high up there. That's all I know. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up the video and figure out what I'm doing after that. I don't know. I guess edit the video.